the league meetings, you've got John Lynch saying, we hope that, see, this is, John Lynch says, we hope Brock's going to be ready to go by training camp. The next day, Kyle Shanahan says he might not be back until week 4. And the word from the 49ers beat writers is, oh, that's okay. That's just, they look at things differently. One guy's an optimist, one guy's a pessimist. How about these two dudes are wildly out of sync when it comes to expectations for the quarterback position? Wildly out of sync. And yet the message that we got from a lot of the 49ers press corps is everything's cool. It's all fine.
I feel like Lynch is a little bit more desperate for Brock to work out. I mean, look at Lynch's resume. He traded for Jimmy Garoppolo. He thought that was the biggest grand slam of all time. He thought he fleeced Bill Belichick. Well, you didn't. So that was not a win for John Lynch. Then he traded for Trey Lance. That's one of the worst trade-ups in NFL draft history as is right now, given that they've moved on from him, at least mentally. So what has he got on his resume at the quarterback position? Failure. He needs Brock to hit so he can say, I found a franchise quarterback. I don't think Kyle cares. Kyle isn't tied to a quarterback. His resume is ironclad. He could say, I'll win with Sam. I'll win with Sam. I don't care. Or I'll win with someone different next year. I'll get Kirk Cousins next year. I think Kyle feels he's made. He's untouchable. And I think John feels that his resume is a little flimsy at the quarterback position. If he doesn't work this out with Brock, he might be back in the booth soon. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I think if anybody was going to pay the price with their job in San Francisco, Lynch is going to pay that price before Kyle. Kyle hired Lynch. So, right. I mean, literally, somebody, I don't know if it was you, asked John Lynch, like, are you going to be the GM here? And he looked at Kyle and said, am I okay? And then then he said, yeah, I want to be here. He literally looked over at Kyle.
And he was like, haha, it's a joke. But like, there's truth to it. There's a lot of truth to it.
Yeah. Behind every joke, there's at least some truth. So I don't know if that's what it is. I do think it's really, really frustrating that the 49ers just made this mistake. They were so sure Jimmy was the guy after 5 games. They paid him all that money, and then they ultimately end up paying a king's ransom to try and move off of Jimmy Garoppolo. Yet Brock Purdy has played 8 games, and they're going to do the same thing when he's coming off career-altering surgery.
Let's talk. I want to change the conversation in a minute. We've just talked about pretty much Trey for the last 22 minutes and how it's not really fair what they've done to Trey. Let's talk about Brock. I feel like they're putting Brock in a very, very tough situation here. Yes. And it reminds me of what Kyle and his dad did with RG3. Okay? You got a very promising quarterback. Now, RG3 was much more gifted than Brock Purdy, but still, like, instant success. RG3 was the freaking rookie of the year, and Brock Purdy might have been as well had he played the whole year. Gets hurt, serious injury. And then you rush him back, and you're like, no, we need you. You're a starter. You're good. He's good. He's good. And you freaking ruin him. So I'm a little worried for Brock, man. Like, they're going to throw you out there as soon as you're ready with no prep, especially if Trey Lance loses a game or two. And is that in your best interest long term? Because if they throw you out there too early, you get hurt, and they ruin you, Kyle won't care. He won't care. He will move on to the next quarterback. Quarterbacks are so replaceable. There's a ton of quarterbacks in the world who are good enough for him.
And if you remember what Kyle said at the league meetings, he said, let's see if I can throw the quote up on screen. He said, we'll see in 3 months if Brock will be ready for camp. If Brock throws and he's a little sore, it might be week 1. So if you're Brock Purdy and you throw and you're feeling a little twinge in your arm,
suck it up.
Are you going to run to Kyle and say, hey, my arm hurts? Put in Sam, put in Trey Lance, and hey, I may never get this job back? Or are you going to shut up, put some ice on it, and rush
rub
back?
It with dirt?
You don't want to lose your job.
See, that's what's going to happen. I feel like they're putting Brock in the situation like, hey, man, you're the leader in the clubhouse, but if you're not here week 1, someone could pass you. So what are you going to do? Of course we know what Brock's going to do. He's going to get his ass on the field for week 1. Is that the best thing for the team and for him? I don't think so. It's the same situation with RG3. Hey, man, you want to play? Of course I want to play. He's going to say, yes, I'm hurt, but I'm going to play through this. Save him from himself, because it's not just about you or him. It's about the organization, the franchise. Like, Washington sucks, and they've sucked since the 80s. But they had that 1 year where they looked like they might have some hope with RG3 and a franchise quarterback, and now they're back to sucking again for the last 10 years. There's a lot at stake with these quarterbacks. It's bigger than a couple people.
And I wouldn't knock Brock, by the way, if he didn't tell Kyle Shanahan that his arm is hurting, because he wants to keep his job. That's only natural. But it's a lot of pressure on him. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. And we don't know what this kind of injury is. And I thought Stefania Bell from ESPN had a good line with Steph Sanchez on Steph's YouTube channel. She said, it's not about return to play with any injury, especially major injury. It's about return to performance. When can you get back and be what you were before you went out, if ever? It's not just can you play. Brock played with the UCL torn. He was in the game in the NFC Championship game.
Right.
When can he look the way he needs to look? And is he going to be able to say in week 1, you know what? I'm almost there. I'm not quite there yet. Just give me a few weeks and I'll get there. Or is he going to say, I can't afford to not be in there because I might never get a shot again?
Also, with Brock, they don't know that he'll ever be able to return to the level of performance he showed last year. They don't know.
But they're acting like they are. They're acting like they do.
Yeah, they are acting, which is amazing. It's like, again, you guys, your track record of, first of all, none of you guys are doctors. And your track record of predicting anything in the future is so bad, but you're feeling confident about this one. Okay. Good.
Kaliki Carroll, and forgive me if I said your name wrong. I apologize. I want to see Trey in the Brock Purdy offense before decisions are made. Trey showed in the Texans game he could roll out and read play action. Then he starts and is used as a fullback. Give Trey the same offense with Christian McCaffrey. I think a lot of 49er fans feel that way.
When they drafted him, they said, look, I thought the reason they took him over Justin Fields was that Justin Fields is a better athlete, but Justin Fields was in a spread offense. Trey Lance played under center in college. Trey Lance is going to sit for a year and learn to play the position the right way. Then when he plays, he's freaking Tim Tebow. Like, no, that's not what you said. If you wanted an athlete at quarterback, Justin Fields is much more athletic than Trey Lance. The whole thing with Trey Lance is as a traditional quarterback, he gives you mobility. He's a scrambler. But the Niners never use him that way. I don't get that.
And
they use him like that one time, and they freaking won.
Trey's a very good scrambler. He's not great on the design runs, but as a scrambler, he's very shifty and he can gain yards. It's almost
kind of like Josh Allen. They don't do a ton of design runs for Josh Allen, but as a scrambler, wow, he's tough to stop.
My egotistic aura says Brock payday, no longer Trey day, arrivederci. All right. That's, again, we're awful quick.
Tupac died before Trey Lance was born, and Brock.
Wait,
he has no skin in this fight. Leave Tupac alone.
I thought he was still alive. Another one from Kaliki here. A big fan of both shows. Love this collab. Thanks for asking the hard questions, Grant. Yeah, you were asking Jed. You're asking John. You're asking Kyle. You were everywhere, man.
It's my first time doing it, and it's funny. Like, I want to give Matt Mayoko credit too. Me and him were like tag team in the quarterback question, but a lot of times beat writers know what the coach doesn't want to be asked, and they want to have a good relationship with the coach, so they just take the path of least resistance. And I'm not that kind of guy. Like, I'm not trying to be Kyle's friend, so I wanted that question, and I like when Kyle gets pissed at me because those are fun posts to put on YouTube. So to his credit, he was very professional.
What is the value, though, of having access if you're not going to ask the questions?
None, no value. Like, are you just there to schmooze with someone? Like, that's not the job. And I remember I looked at your Twitter before the thing, and you said, I want these questions answered. I asked him. I said, is Trey and Sam competing? Are they sharing reps? That was your question. And he said yes. And that was news. Everyone went with that. But no, I asked the question because you told me to. Anyway, AD49er says, oh, you ask these questions, they'll pull your credential. No, they won't. No one is going to get their credential pulled for a question they ask. So it's just people like need to, have some courage.
Yeah, you can't go that hard, he said. Like, yeah, sorry I asked if a player was shopped. Oh, that's such a...
Yes, you can.
Like, such an unrealistic, unreasonable question. Now, are they going to answer it? Who knows? But ask it. I hate when people just assume what the answers are going to be. Let them speak.
Put them on the spot. Put them on the record.
Exactly. Corey.
And the thing with Kyle is he often says too much.
They all say too much.
He often says too much. Yeah, that's true.